For all the prosperity and progress that Hong Kong can boast of, its track record is bogged down by one seemingly insurmountable problem: the chronic shortage of affordable housing. Beneath the glittery facade of one of the world's most affluent cities, there is no glossing over the squalid living conditions of the underprivileged, with more than 210,000 people crammed into tiny subdivided flats. If there is one bright light in these dark settings, it may well be Sze Lai-shan,
Wait, hello.
a tireless campaigner for the downtrodden who has spent more than 20 years helping them secure a roof over their heads or trying to ease their suffering in the cramped confines of what they call home.
So once we have the better policy and they feel not so helpless, or they can have more hope, this is my mission.
She gives a voice to those who have none while living in desperate conditions.
所以嗱，你幫我啫，我仲有幾多年命啊？
China's top official responsible for Hong Kong affairs has given the local government a clear deadline to rid the city of such unacceptable housing by 2049. But it may be easier said than done.
I don't believe my government.
期望，如果我要期望就期望佢快啲咯，希望佢5年內咯。
We go to 4-4.
For this episode of Talking Post, we leave the comfort of a comparatively spacious studio to visit some of this city's notorious coffin homes to give you an idea of what life is like for the less fortunate among us. Hong Kong's underbelly of substandard, subdivided housing for the poor and underprivileged is a sordid story that has been told over and over again for decades. Because it's nothing new, those who can afford better homes and live in more comfort may well be desensitized to the plight of the less fortunate among us. But it's only when you see it for yourself, up close and personal, that you get a sense of how unacceptable the situation is in such a prosperous city. Take this cage home in Mong Kok, for example.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's the setup here? How many people live here?
Now it is a few people living here. Before it's fully occupied, but now the landlord, they want to close it and then change it to subdivided flat. Otherwise, we fully occupied. Or even here is the places people live. So now it's around 4 or 5 people. Depends on situation. Yeah.
So when you say this is going to be converted into a subdivided unit now, so it's a bit of an improvement in living standards, right?
I think
Compared to what it is now?
Just this cage home.
Okay.
Yeah. Some other cage home actually therefore not want to close. They still continue, and there are many people there living here. And now actually for this kind of material, making a cage home is very few of this one. Many of them they are using the wood and cannot see inside. And because they want more privacy, but the ventilation is even poorer. Yeah, and the rent would be more expensive. Yeah.
So whatever improvement we're talking about, upgrade in living standards, you have to take that with a pinch of salt because it's all relative. So from these appalling conditions, we're going to have slightly less appalling when they upgrade. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, or even for people that are living here, they said those new design the cage home, even the ventilation is poorer than theirs.
Based on the official 2021 census, the government estimates that more than 215,000 people live in 108,200 subdivided units in Hong Kong. The average size of these units, which command a median monthly rent of $5,000, is a measly 118 square feet or 11 square meters, even smaller than the average parking space in a city that boasts of the highest number of Rolls-Royces per capita. Metal cage homes are not as prevalent as they were in the old days, but can that be called progress? The upgraded alternatives are still coffin homes, partitioned box-like units stacked from floor to ceiling, separated by thin wooden boards or wire mesh. They come with more privacy than cages, but also at a higher price.
So we're walking down this corridor now, and we're looking at all this in slightly more normal times. I don't think both of us can fit together, but anyway. I want to ask you, you obviously visit these places regularly and you check in on their health and everything. How difficult was it during COVID You know, all movements were all curtailed. Everyone was terrified. They were all wearing masks.
Yeah, it's hard time because when one is suffer from COVID and then the other, they will be easy to be infected. So,
And no room to isolate, right? Isolate is for rich
and
people.
even they don't have enough masks, so we need to deliver the masks to them and then support them. And then immediately call the government how to rehouse them to other people, their places separately. Otherwise, they will be make others also infected.
You did your rounds still, even then, when you're wearing a mask?
Yeah. We even during the COVID, we come to visit and help them too.
Quite brave of you, I must say, to be able to do that. I can't even imagine, how can you fit in this? How do you get in there?
Yeah, inside you cannot stand up and then you need to bend yourself to go inside it. So they're up and then there are 20 households here. Yeah.
20 households.
Yeah.
Among them is 70-year-old Uncle Leung, who pays $2,400 a month for the tiny space he calls home, sharing 2 toilets with 19 other households.
Behind me you can see this is Uncle Leung's house. I can't get inside, so I have to sit here to talk to him. There's a tiny little toilet just across here, so it's so narrow, as you can see. But if you look at his home, he's made a nice little place for himself. It's comfortable. He's got a little aircon going on there, so I'm not sweating so much because there's a little bit of breeze coming in. So, you know, people make the best of what they have. It's quite admirable if you think about it. Uncle Leung, so how long have you been here?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
You live alone?
Yep.
Have you ever applied for public housing, anything better than this?
Not yet.
Not yet. Why not?
Here is nearby here is a company. Also, I live here almost 20 years. I love here, all around here.
I see, because this is your neighborhood. You want to be here where you know the people, your friends are here, and it's more convenient for you. So you're okay, even in this tiny little space, as long as you have your network of people around you?
Yeah.
People like Uncle Leung can be eligible for an affordable public rental flat, but the prospect of spending up to 10 years on the waiting list is daunting. More than 133,000 hopefuls are currently in the queue.
Do you have any hope that maybe one day you'll be offered something better?
I don't believe my government.
You don't believe in the government?
Yeah.
So one of the targets of our government is to look at all these homes like yours and decide which is up to living standards and which is below living standards. And below living standards, they want to get rid of it. They want to shut it down. Are you worried about your living standards here, whether it will be considered okay for you to continue or not okay, you need to get out?
唔會擔心嘅，因為如果到時即係呢個政府講咗好多年都話要取締劏房，都未實施過任何措施嘅，永遠都係咁多劏房係咪？
So essentially, Uncle Leung here has no faith in the government. He's been there, done that, has T-shirt, and he sees no hope, which is quite sad when you think about it. But this is their situation, and this is the best that they can make out of it.
Many retirees living in coffin homes survive on welfare payments from the government's comprehensive social security assistance and old age allowance schemes, receiving a monthly sum of around $5,300. Uncle Wong is one of them. He has been living here for 8 years and pays a monthly rent of $2,800 for his room. Social workers like Sze Lai-shan provide additional support to such tenants, regularly visiting them to hand out food coupons and help them apply for better housing.
So you can see that this is a big upgrade from a cage home, but it's still a tiny little subdivided unit, and he's just made a really comfortable place for himself, even with the little space that he has.
Yeah,
so Uncle Wong,
but it's not really well renovated.
Sure.
It's very dangerous because he sleep here.
This is his bed.
Yeah, his bed. Yeah.
喺呢度瞓覺嗰啲。
But anyway, they have the individual kitchen, the toilet inside. Yeah.
But are you okay living by yourself like this? This is
佢話
the
住
best
呢
you can
度
do?
舒唔舒服啊？
有咩合唔合適啫？即係就照環境咯。咁我都80歲啦。你仲有幾多嗰10年啦？咁我依家仲覆診。咁啊又有糖尿。有血壓高。 所以嗱，你幫我啫，我仲有幾多年命啊？
He said, I have many diseases, maybe not many years to live.
係嘛？
So
So he
最
don't
多
want to
咪
bother
當
others.
年天咧就
夏天好熱啊。
就比較難啲，即係有32度，呢度就冇空氣入啊。佢即係向北咧係得一個窗。咁一冇風入咧，啲冷氣嗰啲熱氣咧就蒸發過嚟，咁就係好熱，即係最少都要多兩。
所以佢有成3把風扇，你係咪啊？3把開晒佢啊
4把。
？4 fan when it's really hot, yeah, open.
you know, our government officials will be watching this video. Does he have anything to say to them?
即係我意思咧，就冇咩要求，即係話大概咧，如果你上咗70幾歲，應該要快啲俾屋人哋。你仲有幾多年命咧？
即係快啲有屋俾你嗬，希望可以。
即
知道。
係提早，譬如72歲、70歲就要俾屋人哋。你唔好到我依家80歲，仲有多幾多年命咧？最多3年。
No, he has more years there. 80 is okay. People live till 90.
你仲好
100.
壯啊！你嘅樣都唔似80。
Hong Kong's leader, Chief Executive John Lee, has made the quest for affordable housing a top priority for his administration. Whether he will be able to deliver where his predecessors could not will be a test of his promised new style of leadership. But Lee has appealed for patience, saying it will take a decade for the city to build up a surplus of homes.
So we're going into a subdivided home now, and we're going to take a look at how families in Hong Kong live, families with children.
So there are 14 bed space and then 1 room.
14 bed spaces in this home.
Yeah, there's bed space, and then 1 room is for the family. Share together. 喂 ，hello， 呢個女咧做緊功課啊？This is Mr. Jie family.
Hello,
And,
Leo.
Before, actually, these rooms living 1 man and they are 3,500. But now, because of each person, so charge for 4,800.
For the same space, just because more people are in there.
Too small. I think they don't have the 40 square feet.
You know, for this size of flat, nearly $5,000, if you look at it per square foot, it's one of the most expensive places in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah. Too expensive. This is the rent receipt, 4,800.
4,800, so it's nearly $5,000.
Yeah.
電費另計，即係
And then you need to pay for the electricity fee,
Utilities,
the water
everything.
usage. Yeah. So will be over 5,000. Yeah, it's expensive.
For this one room.
This only 1 room, and need to share with other 14 household with the
The
Toilet.
kitchen and toilet facilities.
都冇廚房嘛呢度嗬
冇廚房，
，don't have kitchen.
冇廚房
廚房咪呢度咯，
Yeah.
叫做所謂嘅廚房咯，
The only the toilet,
2個廁所咯。
2 toilets.
So cooking is inside the room?
點煮啊？你唔煮嘢你咩？定用個即係你又唔好用電飯煲。
買都用咪呢度咯，煮麵食咯。
Mr. Sze lives with his wife and daughter in this small room in Tsim Sha Tsui. The family shares a subdivided flat with 14 other tenants who occupy 1 bed space each. He earns about $16,000 per month, of which $5,000 is consumed by rent. The rest goes towards his pension fund, transport, food, bills, and his daughter's schooling.
So I'm peeking through this door here, and you have this little girl here doing her homework. She's on the floor and she's on this tiny little table, fold-out table, and this is how they get educated. But of course, the hope is that she gets educated and she lives in much better conditions when she gets a proper job. So that's upward mobility. If you can have upward mobility when you live like
韓
this.
國有得學啊，我諗都好。
Mr. Sze has been languishing in the queue for public housing for more than 15 years, starting as a single person and then joining the waiting list for families. He complains that the government has made the process too complicated and wasted much of his time.
佢問我女有咩收入咯， 一個7歲小朋友，佢問佢有咩收入咯。咁佢寄翻封信嚟就要我證明佢有要有寫咩公司證明啊，嗰啲乜嘢啊，咁佢有乜嘢收入咯？咁佢除咗我呢個爸爸揾錢翻嚟養佢之外，佢仲有咩收入呢？佢話係房署嘅規矩咯。
佢慣咗每個人都問，
每一個成員都要去問咯。咁但係一個7歲嘅小朋友，佢問呢句會唔會有啲即係我都覺得有啲滑稽啲咯。佢咁嘅做法，因為我有晒即係出世紙嘅日期啊，咁個小朋友有晒出生年月日報上去，有晒證件報翻上去，咁你冇可能問一個7歲小朋友有咩收入㗎嘛
？Unlike in the past, the Hong Kong government is now under direct pressure from Beijing to get a grip on the city's housing problem. Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office Director Sze Lai-shan has set 2049 as the deadline for the elimination of cramped and unsuitable accommodation in the city. It means that the government has around 26 years left to meet the target.
其實有啲荒謬咯，覺得佢即係覺得政府有啲荒謬咯。因為以我所知，我有去過房屋處嗰度去睇過，其實就係我哋呢啲香港人，即係我哋本土香港人呢，就等得耐啲咯。咁某些外籍嘅，即係東南亞籍嗰啲，佢哋會快啲咯。因為佢哋可以其實響5年內佢哋就已經係一定上到樓咯。咁但係我哋香港華人或者本土嗰啲，佢就一味話我哋唔夠一係就話我哋超額啊，一係就話我哋工資太高啊。咁導致咗我哋就跟住永遠都係唔合資格咯。咁跟住佢所謂嘅幫助，佢其實冇幫助過啦。咁香港嘅籠屋好、劏房好，甚至乎呢啲床位嘅存在咗都超過40年有多啦。咁佢點樣喺26年同26年到30年內可以清晒啊？因為呢個唔係今時今日先嘅問題嚟㗎嘛，呢個係我做好似佢咁細個嘅時間已經出現緊呢啲咁嘅問題㗎啦。
So we're in the common kitchen area of this whole subdivided flat. It's been split into several sections. There's several families living here, and this is the communal area where there's not much cooking to be done. There's a little bit of a sink there, and very, very basic. I have to say, after looking at all of this tonight, I have two main takeaways. One is the importance of raising awareness about how people in Hong Kong are living like this, and that's important through social activists like her, Sze Lai-shan, who helps these people out and raises awareness through the media like us. The other takeaway, I must say personally, is for all of us who don't live like this, who live in much better conditions, to just take a step back and to appreciate and be grateful for what we have, considering that there are so many others who have nothing of this sort. I think that's really, really important for us. Sze Lai-shan, I have to say I admire the work that you've been doing. You've been doing this for many, many years. I think you are kind of a savior for these people. I noticed how you slip in a little food stamp to them when we met these families, and this is very, very important. But I do want to ask you, it's a bit of a thankless job. It's tough work to visit these families, to make sure that they're okay. What's your motivation? What reward do you get for this? It's definitely not money.
I think for myself, when I was young and studying and I know about the social work and I know people in Hong Kong, they're rich society, but we have many people there living in poor conditions. And so actually I want to do a job that is more meaningful and can help people. So I joined the social work field because sometimes actually there's policy problems and it should be solved by the government and also the community can help. And so once we have the better policy and once we have more people, they're willing to lend their hand and then they are empowered and they feel not so helpless or they can have more hope. So they will be make them they are living better and make our society better. So this is my mission. I think they are more stronger than us because they are in really difficult situations, but they still try their best to overcome. And even in their really difficult hardship, and we can see they will help each other. And then sometimes they help us actually because we're too much workload, and then be a helper, be a volunteer to help others. I think this is really rewarding, and that's what I treasure.
You've been doing this for so many years. Has there been progress? Are we doing better? Are you hopeful that it will eventually be something that Hong Kong no longer has to be ashamed of? Because let's face it, this is embarrassing for
yeah,
Hong Kong that people live like this in this city, which is the most affluent in the world. Look at the number of people with Rolls Royces and multiple homes and everything that they have, and then at the same time we have this.
Yeah, you're correct. Actually, we should not have this kind of housing in Hong Kong. Actually, I joined SOCO in 1995, so already 20 years ago. And I think the situation, if for those living conditions, some of the poorest, they have improvement, but they are not really big improvement because we still have cage home exists, and people they are still living in very poor condition, and besides the rent is going up is another problem. So we hope there will be eradication of no cage home, no cubicles, no subdivided in Hong Kong. This is what we hope, and actually we feel happy to know the government they have a plan to cause those poor conditions very fast.
This 26-year deadline that I keep talking to you about, that the government has been given notice by Beijing, this response was yes, they have set up a task force, they will look into doing this, but there was one caveat that has been put out there by the government, and that makes me a little bit worried because it seems to be like an escape clause, like a loophole there, where they're saying we have to decide first all these subdivided homes, which is considered up to standard, which we will have to allow, and the ones where the living standards are so poor, those have to be shut down. So that means the huge number of subdivided homes we have, not necessarily all of them will be shut down at the same time. So given all this, and looking at the condition of this particular place, for example, we saw something much worse. I get the feeling that something like this, the government would say, well, this is not so bad compared to what we just saw there. So this is up to standard, so there's no need to get rid of this. But honestly, when I look at this, even if it's better than some of the other units that we looked at, it's still unacceptable.
Yeah. So actually, we also worry about it, and we think they should have aim is finally there's no subdivided in Hong Kong, so there will be staged development. For example, because we don't have enough supply of housing, so we have maybe the first batch is the most deprived for the cage home to be eradicated, and then those very poor. So I think they should set, and besides they should set how many household they can live, and everyone what's the basic living space. Because before actually in 90s we have the best space apartment audience. At that time actually we request no cage home, but the government they just regulate the cage home to legalize it. So I think, but at that time the audience they don't have the regulator the living space actually, and they don't regulate how many household they should be. So I think they should have set this kind of criteria so you can ban those too many household and the living space is too small. For example, this actually everyone is a bed space, and even this home there are 3 persons in a room, but actually their living space is just like 2 beds. Their UN have some criteria for their housing rights, and so it was the basic requirement for a housing, and we can compare also the criteria of public housing. For example, if the average person's living space is less than 5.5 square meter, is already not allowed in public housing. So we think they should be have something to measure in the subdivided flat. Yeah.
You know, forgive me for being a little pessimistic, but I'm not very hopeful that this problem, how and when is it going to be solved. But I do think people like you, the work that you do is very important, and the fact that you should not lose hope. So I hope you will carry on doing what you're doing, because it's a great service to Hong Kong. So thank you.
And I think we also there we have the process. We have many people, they are good-hearted people in Hong Kong. They also very concerned and they join us to help. I think it's very important for the people.
That's good to know.
Support. Yeah.
So all the best for your work.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Thank you.